Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashari Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaura Hari Bo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishubhada Paramahansa Paribhashakacharya Asto Tarasati Srimad Abhaya Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 1st chapter, text number 34. 33, I'm sorry. Mati swashreyo vaschaidyo dantavakrascha pandava Pashada Pravara Vishnu Viprashapat Padachutao Matri Swashreyo Vaschaidyo Dantavakrascha Pandava Pashadam Pravara Vishnu Viprashapat Padachutao Matti Swashreyo Vaishchadyo Dantavakrascha Pandava Pashada Pravara Vishnu Viprashapat Padachutao Vakrascha Pandava Santavakrascha Pandava Ashra Bhagavad Vishnu Viprashapat Padajutau. Vaishnavi. Mati Swashaya Vachityo Santavakrascha Pandava Ashra Bhagavad Vishnu Viprashapat Padajutau Madri Swashaya Vaishchadyo Santavakrascha Pandava Ashada Bhavara Vishnu Vishnushapad Padachito Matri Swashaya, the son of the mother's sister. Shishupala. Ba, your. Chaitya, King Shishupala. Tantavakra, Tantavakra. Cha, and Pandava. O Pandava. Pashara Pravarao. Two exalted attendants. Vishnu, of Vishnu, Vipra, by Brahmana, Shapat, because of a curse, Pada, from their position in Vaikuntha, Chuta, fallen. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Narada Muni continued, O best of the Pandavas, your two cousins Shishupal and Dantavakra, the sons of your material aunt, were formerly associates of Lord Vishnu. But because they were cursed by Brahmanas, they fell from Vaikuntha to the material world. Everyone can please repeat. Narada Muni continued, O best of the Pandavas, your two cousins, Shishupal and Dantavakra, the sons of your material aunt, were formerly associates of Lord Vishnu. But because they were cursed by Brahmana, they fell from Vaikuntha to this material world. Purport. Shishupala and Dantavakra were not ordinary demons, but were formerly personal associates of Lord Vishnu. They apparently fell into this material world because actually they came to assist the Supreme Personality of Godhead by nourishing His pastimes within this world. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Yadati Swapadantikam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyatya Reshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, the question is raised here first by Parikshit Maharaj at the beginning of the chapter. The first verse. Why does the Lord, in this case Lord Vishnu, appear to be partial to his devotee? No. Because the Supreme Lord, who's neutral, should be neutral according to, of course, Parikshit Maharaj knows, but he's taking that position that how can he be partial to the demigods? Then he's not the Supreme Lord who's fair to everyone. Krishna himself declares that samaham sarvabhuteshu namidvashtustina priyaha, that I am equal to anyone, everyone. I don't favor anyone and I don't discourage anyone. And even our acharyas, especially Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, emphasizes that actually Krishna does not even award bhakti. No. It's awarded by his devotees. Because if he were to award bhakti, then he would be partial. So what is he saying in Bhagavad Gita? He says, I don't favor everyone, but ye bhanjate tumam bhaktya. But if someone worships me, then maitateshu chapyam. Then they are within me, I am within them, they are within me. So it's not partial, because that possibility, ye bhajante, is for everyone can worship Krishna. Some choose not to. But it's not something, it's not like we have in the material world, all, as we say, VIP, we got the VIP, RSVP, all these special designations that only certain people can have access to. Even in computers or internet, you have to have access, you have to have a password. So, but Krishna says, yes, anyone. There's no, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that ultimately you don't even have to be initiated to taste the pure holy name. Don't even have to do that. When he asked that, when Satyaraj Khan asked Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his question was, how can a grihastha like me, like he said, that, immersed in material activities, what is our hope for coming to pure devotional service? And even Nanda Maharaj had that attitude. He's the father of the Supreme Personality of Godhead eternally. And he's thinking himself fallen. What to speak of us? And we think we're important. And he thinks he's fallen. So how far do we have to go to come to that point? When Garga Muni comes to his house, he said, "Oh, I am so fortunate, great sage, that you have come. Householders like ourselves, we know you have no business coming to our home other than to purify us. Otherwise, he's not coming for a meal. That's not like you take the renounced order for a meal ticket. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada said, he was a little upset at one point in time because some of his godbrothers were opposing him. So he said, many of my godbrothers are neophyte, and they are simply concerned with solving the chapati problem. So, of course, that wasn't everyone. But Prabhupada saw that this was happening. And he wasn't just talking about his godbrothers. He was talking about the sadhus. Srila Prabhupada, when his friend tried to bring him to come to meet Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, just another sadhu. He said, my father would keep some some hemp, some marijuana in the house for the sadhus, and you give them a little, that was, many of them had that habit, especially the Shaivites. I remember in the first Padayatra, when we arrived in Bhubaneswar, we went to one, it wasn't the main Shiva temple, it was like a secondary one. And all the sadhus were smoking marijuana. We almost became intoxicated just doing Harinam in there. There's so much smoke. And so I said, let's go. But anyway, they were blissfully enjoying the kirtan. I don't know if they were enjoying the kirtan or enjoying the smoke, but anyway. So Prabhupada was reluctant but his father was very liberal. His father was a liberal, just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur. One time, when his son was very, very young, maybe 12 years old, 11, 12 years old, one Babaji, Radha Raman Das Babaji, came to the house of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur welcomed him very gracefully. And Bhaktisiddhanta, a young boy, he said, why are you welcoming him? He does not understand pure bhakti. And the Babaji said, your son is very rude. He said, he's just a boy. Actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur agreed, but being a grihastha, he had to show that etiquette. So anyway, so in this case, the question is there by Parikshit Maharaj. How is the Lord so partial? How can he take this position? Indra, why is he favoring Indra? And actually, Indra doesn't always act in the best way. Already fresh in Parikshit Maharaj's mind was Govardhan Leela, and how rude, why even, it was like a double take. Why is he partial? And especially to somebody like Indra who insults him, which is also in later verses in this chapter. It's said that the Lord is not partial. He can't be praised in one sense, and he can't be defamed. Because unless one is a pure devotee would never defame Krishna, and a pure devotee's glorification of Krishna is on the transcendental platform. It's actually devotional service. Praise within this world, within the modes of material nature, they are part of duality. But the praise of a devotee is transcendental, uttama shloka. He's simply responding to Krishna's position as uttama shloka. He who must be glorified. Otherwise, if you don't glorify Krishna, then it means that you are under the modes of material nature. So, as Lord Vishnu himself said, when Durvasa Muni approached him, he said, what can I do? Durvasa said, please take away your Sudarshan. What can I do? Aham bhakta paradino yasvatantreva dvija. He said that I am completely under the control of my devotee. And he says it 3 times actually. I am under the control of my devotee. Yasvatantreva dvija. O Brahmana, I have no independence. And then Sarubir grasta hridayo. In my heart is totally under the control of my devotee. And bhaktaya bhakta janas priyaha. And what to speak of the devotee of my devotee? In the Adi Purana, Krishna tells Arjuna that actually someone who declares himself my devotee is not actually my devotee. But someone who is the devotee of my devotee, he is my devotee. Of course, there are some devotees who are actually devotees of Krishna. Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Mai, Vasudev, Devaki. They're not under someone else in the spiritual world. Rataka, Patraka, Shrimati Radharani, the main person in each rasa. They're actually direct devotees of Krishna. Everybody else, even in Goloka Vrindavan, they are dasa anudas. But sometimes we have trouble doing that. We have trouble, even when we're very neophyte, we have trouble surrendering to the spiritual master. We may come up and bow down and take dust, but when it comes to following all the orders, which is the real surrender is not some mechanical movement of the body. That I offer some obeisances and just like real devotees, they don't even like the spiritual master to see them when they offer obeisances. Because it's almost like I want you to see that I'm surrendered. They offer obeisances in such a way, just like Raghunath Das Goswami, when he approached, he was still Raghunath Das, he approached Lord Nityananda from a distance and offered obeisances. But of course Lord Nityananda saw him because he's omniscient. And he said, "You're a thief. You offer obeisances at a distance because you don't want me to see, and therefore you are a thief." But actually he was praising him, that you're offering obeisances, you don't want to be seen. No. Just like I've seen some devotees when they offer obeisances to some, make sure, here I am, I'm offering obeisances. But humility means we don't want to be seen. We want the Lord to see us, but we want Him to see our surrender, not our mechanical attempt at surrender. So, anyway, I don't know how he got on that tangent, but anyway, so the Lord is not, he can't, it says he can't be criticized because he does nothing wrong. And the criticism can never, someone who is beyond the modes of nature, just like a devotee who's beyond the modes of nature, like Srivas Acharya, when Chapal Gopal, who was very envious of him, because Srivas was getting so much praise, everybody was seeing him as, the highest devotee, he was envious. So he went and put some paraphernalia for worshipping Durga on his doorstep. And when he came out, and it wasn't like some game he was playing. He thought, oh, yes, now everyone will realize that I'm worshipping Durga. Otherwise, he thought it was Krishna's arrangement that somebody is seeing him that way, and it must be something in his heart. When he was in the audience of Devananda Pandit, and Devananda began to speak of Krishna's pastimes, and Srivas fainted in ecstasy. And then the students thought, he's making a disturbance. They took him outside. He felt like, I don't deserve to hear Krishna's pastimes. Of course, Lord Chaitanya had a different take on that situation and punished Devananda. Devananda didn't actually ask him to leave, but Devananda tolerated it, which shows that we should not even tolerate an offense against a Vaishnava. So the Lord cannot be partial. He cannot be. And he also can't be criticized. So therefore, this whole chapter evolves to the point of then, in order to explain something, now Shukadev gives an example. And then we're in the present conversation where Yudhishthira is asking Narada Muni, how Shishupal and Dantavakra, how they were liberated. He said, I was there. I was right there in the Rajasuya sacrifice. I saw it. We all saw it. Shishupal was so nasty, and Krishna was so kind, because at the time of his birth, in Vedic society, there were everyone that was born, there was an astrologer. So the astrologer told the mother, Krishna will kill him. He's going to be killed by Krishna. Actually, an astrologer is not supposed to say that. An astrologer is not supposed to say how you will die or when you will die, unless specifically asked by the person. But even then, sometimes they don't reveal it. Just like when Lord Chaitanya was born, one astrologer was there, and he praised Lord Chaitanya how he would be so glorious. But then one thing he didn't tell to Jagannath Mishra is that he will take sannyas. But later Jagannath Mishra had dreamed, and he saw him as a sannyas. He was so disturbed by it that he immediately came to Shachi Devi, because he saw it twice. First time he saw it, he thought maybe it's just a nightmare. But the second time he saw it, he told Shachi Devi, let's take him out of school. Because if he's not learned, then he won't take sannyas. You have to be learned. So Shachi Devi said, this is a very unusual request. How will he survive? And Jagannath Mishra says, how does the cobbler survive? He's basically reduced Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from a Brahmin to a cobbler, or some simple. And everybody just said, you're crazy. He's the most brilliant student, so he had to put him back. So now the present dialogue comes to the point. And so Krishna, when he heard that he was supposed to kill Dantavakra, he said to his mother, don't worry. He would have to insult me 100 times or more. I promise I won't kill him unless he insults me 100 times. And she understood, because Krishna is a very, dignified person. He has to maintain his position. A Brahmin and a Vaishnava can be humble, and they can be criticized and treated badly, just like Rishabdev. He gives that example. And the Avanti Brahmin, he was criticized, he was tortured, he was put in a cage, he was ridiculed. People would urinate and pass stool on him, and people would starve him, people would beat him. He never complained. Never complained. We complain if somebody doesn't, treat us in the best way possible. What to speak of, criticizing us. Even Jayananda Prabhu, when someone would criticize him, he would say, thank you very much. And of course, the famous story of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he had this one man who always criticized him. And the devotees, the disciples, were almost like Bhima, just in the Rajasuya, just ready to, get rid of him. And then one day, he saw his disciples having a big kirtan. And what happened? What are you doing? Why this big unexpected kirtan? Finally, this rascal, critic, blasphemer has left his body. He deserved it. He was such a... And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, it wasn't some, theatrical performance. He felt very sad. He said, he was my best friend, because he criticized me. He's my best friend. So he's teaching us the nature of pure devotion. So Krishna, he said that, and the mother was satisfied. Yeah, he has to maintain his position. And she instructed her son not to, just leave Krishna alone. But even before he could properly speak, he was criticizing Krishna. Even when he could just say a few words, the first thing he said was first thing he did. Most children, they say, their parents are waiting, Prabhupada, Prabhupada, or Krishna, they're very happy. But he said Krishna, and he would look disgusted, and then he started to, whatever few words he had, he tried to put Krishna down. And his mother was very concerned, and she was trying. Oh, you have to love Krishna. He's your cousin. Love your cousin. Really trying hard. But he couldn't give it up. So then the whole conversation comes to the point where Narada Muni says, there are many ways to approach Krishna. And the way he gets into where we are now, he says, actually, the people who are inimical to Krishna, they're actually more fortunate because their meditation sometimes is more intense. Uddhava, in his ecstasy, he started glorifying Kamsa. He said, Kamsa, I think he's more advanced than we are. He's more fortunate. He was always thinking about Krishna. But we, the Vrishnis, we're living with Krishna, so we take advantage. Just like anybody, when somebody is present in this world, I could go and hear the class today. Well, I can hear tomorrow, no problem. I got many things to do. But then when they leave this world or they're gone, then we feel the separation. So anyway, Uddhava was saying that. Kamsa is much more fortunate. He was very intensely meditating on Krishna. So this was Narada Muni's conclusion. And then he gave the example of Shishupal and Dantavakra. They were very envious of Krishna. And therefore, Krishna says, Manmana bhavamad bhakto. And Prabhupada made this point so many times. Manmana. You should always think about Krishna, but mad bhakto. And Jiva Goswami, he says that pure devotional service should be favorable. We should meditate on Krishna favorably. And be his devotee. That's how you meditate on Krishna favorably. Just like so many people, almost everybody, practically everybody in India knows about Krishna. Practically everyone has read Bhagavad Gita, but they all haven't read Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. If you read Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, just like if you read the commentaries of our acharyas, they in many verses, they say Brahman. They don't, they otherwise Krishna says he's Param Brahman or he's Brahman. And they, in their commentary, they speak of Krishna as Brahman. But Prabhupada never does. He always says Krishna. Doesn't matter. And he always says of Buddhi Yoga. No, they don't say Bhakti, but Prabhupada says Bhakti. He wanted to make sure anybody who reads Bhagavad Gita, you understand what is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And the same in the Bhagavatam. Gaur Govinda Maharaj told me that he gave a set of Prabhupada's Bhagavatams to his Sanskrit teacher. And the Sanskrit teacher called him in and he said, this is the best rendition of Bhagavatam I have ever seen. He said, because he has captured the essence. The essence is bhakti, and he has captured the essence. So, anyway, here it says, now, Srila Prabhupada in his purport, they were formerly personal associates, because in this verse it says, Vipra Shapat, by the curse of the Vipra, Pada. Pada in this case means Vaikunta. Pada Chutao. That they fell from the spiritual world. And this was the whole beginning of the question by Yudhishthira. How can an eternal associate of the Lord fall from Vaikuntha? And of course, the next couple verses goes into that point, and that's a matter of controversy sometimes in ISKCON. But the point here is, Srila Prabhupada says, they apparently fell to the material world, but actually they came to assist the Supreme Personality of Godhead by nourishing his pastime. So they had a choice. 7 births as a devotee, or 3 births as a demon. So most people think, well, they chose 3 births as a demon because they would get back to Lord Vishnu quicker. But that wasn't the reason. The reason was they thought, they understood that the curse of the Brahmins was because Krishna has to be very kind to the Brahmins. And therefore he accepted their curse on his devotees because they had just become devotees. Just that moment, they became just a few seconds before that, they became devotees. So Krishna would have chastised them because they cursed his devotee. Then they might have given up devotional service. And therefore, he made sure they just become devotees. Just like somebody just joins, you have to be a little careful. Don't, pray, Prabhu can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, and they're out the door. No. First thing you do is, here's some gulab jamun, here's some rasgulla, here's ras malai, here's kirtan. It's okay if you can't get up, that's okay, no problem. Tomorrow you should get up. And so, we have to be kind. And then, so Vishnu wanted to be kind. And so he said the curse. But he gave the option so his devotees would understand. They understood that our Lord would never curse us to be demons. And therefore there must be a purpose. And therefore we must accept the demon birth because he has some purpose. There must be a purpose. So this was their motivation. Not that they would get back quicker. Because a devotee always tries to see how I can best please the Lord. And that was they were meditating intensely. Sometimes we get these dilemmas. Do I do this or do I do that? Just like we see someone, when we're distributing books, you see someone, the mind will say, no, look at that person doesn't look like they'll take a book. And then you have to think, no, I must do it. You have to make that choice. And pray to Lord Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada, Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas that I have to be your instrument. Let me go and offer this book. And whatever the result, I will do my best to be your instrument and let them begin their path to bhakti. And of course, a devotee, in any case, at least wants to get the book in their hand. So at least they touch it, even if they don't take it. At least they've, the hook, Krishna's hook. As soon as they touch the book, the hook. And so this was their motivation. So they came, and now we see. Now you see in the first pastime, as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, their demoniac quality was very intense and universal. They conquered the whole universe. Both of them conquered the universe. But in this second time they appeared, they were, Ravana. He was, in one sense, he was the king of Lanka. He wanted to conquer the heavenly planets, but he really couldn't do so. He thought about it, but he couldn't really conquer the whole. And his brother was just sleeping most of the time. They were very powerful. And this time, they're much less intense, because each one of these times they become purified more. And even their demoniac nature is different. But in this case, especially, their envy was stronger. Each time the envy became stronger. And in the case of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, they thought they could defeat Vishnu. In the case of Ravana, he wasn't thinking so much of defeating Vishnu. He was just thinking of how can I become the king. But he was very envious of that Ramachandra has something I don't have. So the envy increases. And in this time, the envy is so intense, it's just directed toward Krishna. They weren't so bad. In this particular, they weren't so bad as far as external society went. Just like Duryodhana. Even Yudhishthira praised him. He's a good manager. Let him be the emperor, no problem. So now the envy is so intense, poison only toward Krishna. But at the same time, the enviousness was not so universal. So I wanted to make one more point. Trying to remember, I was thinking about it. Yes, in this verse it says, Matmi Swashreya, your cousin. So indirectly, Narada Muni is saying, you might think that Krishna had become partial because he was your cousin. No. But he's never partial. As I said in the beginning, it's just his intense love for his devotee. Sadhavo hridaya mahyam sarunam hridayam tvaham, that madanyat te na jananti naham tebhyo managapi. Krishna says that I am always in the heart of my devotee, and the devotee is always in my heart. They know nothing else beside me, and even for a fraction of a moment am I ever distracted from my devotee. Not even for a fraction of a second, a minute fraction of time am I ever separated from my devotee. So, but he comes in these pastimes, in these wonderful human life pastimes, at the end of the Rasa Lila, when Shukadeva Goswami is explaining to Parikshit, who said, how can Krishna act so irreligiously? Actually, he was the first one. Nowadays, it's very common. Just like Srila Prabhupada, he was on a train, and one man sat down in front of him, and he said, so Swamiji, why does Krishna dance with other people's wives? And Srila Prabhupada said, do you have a wife? Yes. He said, so why are you dancing with Krishna's wife? Ham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravarta. Everything comes from Krishna. Everyone is Krishna's wife. Therefore, why are you dancing with Krishna's wife? Prabhupada reversed it, and the man was shocked. Never thought of it like that. So he just, Swamiji, yes. So this is the implication here. Don't think it was because he was his cousin that he was partial and he got liberation. No. It was because they were actually devotees. And now the whole story comes of... now it's interesting in the Bhagavatam, this is the last point I wanted to make. Usually the Bhagavatam begins with the effect and then there's the cause. Just like Kaliya. The effect was that Krishna gave him mercy. And then later on it's explained how that happened. How he came into that position of getting that mercy. And in the story of Chitraketu, Vritrasura, first came the story of Vritrasura, the cause, the effect, and then the cause comes. So here again, we already heard about, in the third canto, we heard about Jai Vijay, or the curse. So now, that was the effect. Now, that was the cause, and now the effect is being explained in more detail. So sometimes the Bhagavatam works like this. It's like people who go to the cinema. They always show some preview from the next time, so you'll come back. So Bhagavatam also does that. This is expert literature. You always keep people, I have to see what's going to happen next. So therefore, sometimes the cause is first, sometimes the effect is first. Always keep you on the edge. How did this happen? So these are some wonderful things about the Bhagavatam and how it's designed. So see, these are some thoughts on this particular verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada didn't spend a whole lot of time on this particular verse, so only 3 lines. So I tried to go back and refer to a few other things. So is there any comment or question? Yes.
Finer aspects of heart, of true humility, true surrender, and the true feelings of Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva and others. I had a couple of questions. One question is, you said about Raghunath Das Goswami not offering obeisances in front. So what is the culture, Maharaj? Like, this should be our mood always, or thought comes in our heart that we want their glance, because Bhagavatam is glorifying the glance of pure devotees so much, over the Ganges also. So we want their glance, but then we should not want it. So what should be the mood? Means I understand towards spiritual master, means that feeling is understood, but at the same time this feeling is also there. So how do we actually have that?
Well, this is the nature of bhakti. Just like a devotee is always free from anxiety and always in anxiety. We're free from anxiety of the modes of nature, but we're always in anxiety to do more for Krishna. So a devotee, if you take any quality of a devotee, you can see that on the one hand, in its external manifestation, we want to be free from it. But in the internal manifestation, we want to experience it. Everything, practically any emotion that you can think of, we have this. So these are the opposites that exist in doing Sankirtan, in serving. There's always this decision that we have to make. Always something that Krishna is showing us. If we are parikshit, meaning if we are observant, then we will see. We're always trying to analyze, just like Puru. Puru, when he accepted the curse of his father, Jayati, he said that, yes, of course I accept it, but I feel very bad. I should have accepted it immediately. As a good son, I should, and Prabhupada explains that a first-class disciple always anticipates what the spiritual master wants, not in speculation. We don't speculate, but we observe, and by that observation, so in serving the deity and doing Sankirtan in every service, we should try to observe what is actually pleasing the spiritual master or pleasing the Vaishnavas. And this is our challenge. This is the refinement of devotional service. One thing is devotional service, just like I spoke of 929 in Bhagavad Gita, next verse, apichat sudracharo bhajate mamananya bhak. that even if a devotee somehow or another commits an abominable activity, if they're situated in devotional service, then they should, samyat vyavasiyo hisaha, they should be seen as that they are performing devotional service, and therefore they're fixed in their devotional service. No, vyavasaha, no, they're determined. But when Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that verse, he says, even if their service is negligent, if they're somehow or another trying to serve, otherwise, if their service is still very crude, it's not refined, they don't have that much experience, still, Krishna will forgive them. And of course, Prabhupada emphasizes that doesn't mean we do things willingly against the Lord, but even if our devotional service is not refined. So what we're doing now, we've all come, we've all surrendered, at least those, hopefully everyone here and more. So now we're trying to refine devotional service so that we anticipate what can I offer? How can I serve the deity best? How can I serve the Vaishnavas? How can I serve the spiritual master? This is the process of refinement. And that, therefore, should I or shouldn't I? Just like with Krishna, he tells us, Sarvadhamam Parichaja, you should surrender and depend on me. But a devotee thinks, if I depend on Krishna, then I'm making him do something for me. So this is a dilemma. There's always these dilemmas. But Krishna is telling me to do it. Just like Srila Prabhupada explains that Arjuna had the dilemma in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna told him, he told Krishna to take the chariot in between the two armies. But Arjuna didn't want to do that. Why did he do it? Prabhupada said, because he didn't want Krishna to break his promise. Krishna said, no, I am going to be your charioteer. So he was hesitant. I don't want to tell Krishna to take the chariot in between the armies, but I have to fulfill his promise. He wants to be my charioteer. So the point is that we always have this choice. That's the point. Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Oh.
Krishna is called as cause of all causes.
Your voice is coming from over there.
Krishna is called as cause of all causes. Even though he is cause of all causes, why this Jaya Vijaya got cursed from the Chatush Kumaras, and to just Krishna want to experience any chivalry from them or for any other purpose, Maharaj?
A devotee doesn't mind being cursed. We're already cursed. We're in the material world, no? So, what can be worse than being in the material world? So, devotees, these pastimes are to show us the level of tolerance that a devotee should have. And of course that's explained in the famous verse by Lord Brahma. Bhungjana. Extreme. Bhungjana means extreme. Susamikshmana bhungjana. That our level of tolerance, of patience, is extreme. Because otherwise we become bewildered by the modes of nature. And therefore, even if the devotee is cursed, and therefore, tiraskritya vipalabdha shapta shipta hata iva. It says that Shamikya Rishi was thinking, my son, hopefully Parikshit Maharaj will curse him, because that's the only way he's going to be relieved from the offense he did against such a great devotee. But then he thought, devotees, if they are defamed, if they are mistreated, if they're cursed, if they're belittled, even if they're killed, They never take revenge. So he said, he's not going to curse him. I wish he would, because it would be better if he were cursed by a devotee and he suffers the curse and then he's free, than to commit an offense against a Vaishnava. But because he was a young boy, Prabhupada explains, he didn't suffer the effects of his curse. He was an instrument to usher in Kali Yuga. So anyway, point is that a devotee is not afraid of curses. Actually, Lord Chaitanya was happy to be cursed, by the Brahmin who said, "You will never get married and you will never be happy," because he wouldn't let him into the kirtan, broke his thread. And Lord Chaitanya, of course, he was inside, but he was very happy to get that curse. Narada Muni got cursed by Daksha 2 times. He preached to his sons, because the Vedic system is, you take your brahmachari so that you become a grihastha. That's the Vedic system. Daksha, he said, "You're misleading my boys. You're not going to allow them to experience the happiness of this material world, and therefore, if they become brahmacharis, they'll become bewildered at some point in life, and then it'll be your fault. Therefore, I curse you." So Daksha loses it from time to time. And that happened after he was, after his big mistake with Lord Shiva. Just like Indra, even after he was chastised and he offered beautiful prayers to Krishna, then when Krishna came to get the Parijata flower, he forgot. That's how intoxicating power is, and that's why Lord Chaitanya says, "Ladana na janana sundari kavita na." Don't hanker for these things. There's a question over here. We should get one of those little, what do they call it, drones. They can carry the microphone around.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, I have a question that why did Krishna give Shishupal that I'll tolerate only 100 insults? Because he can be infinitely tolerated. And Shishupal was not insulting devotees of Krishna. He was insulting...
Because Krishna knew that he would do it. He knew, Krishna, he knows everything. He knew he had to kill him. This part of the arrangement that was made. He made as Lord Vishnu. But he wanted the mother to feel like it couldn't possibly happen. That's why he said 100 times. He could have said 10 times, but then the mother could have thought, "Oh, no, that's not good enough." But she thought, 100 times, I'll convince my son, I'll treat him very nicely, I'll glorify Krishna. So it was also a way to get her to glorify Krishna. Because she had to praise Krishna constantly to try to convince her son, who he had to do it. He had to be killed by Krishna. So it was actually Krishna's mercy that he said 100 times. If he would have said more, he also had to measure the tolerance of Bhima. How much more could Bhima, how could they hold, how could he even hold Bhima back more than 100 curses? Even on the first curse, Bhima was ready to go up and kill him. So everything is perfectly planned by Krishna. Okay, one more and then...
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the class. I wanted to ask that when desires get too much strong, like now Bhagavatam class is going on, like full Shuddh Sattvic environment is created, so it's very easy to control the mind. But when going outside, the desires become strong, and then Tamasic or Rajasic environment is there. That time it's very difficult to control.
Well, you'd have to ask those who are not here.
I didn't understand.
You'd have to ask those who are not here. Bhagavatam class is, sometimes in the temples in my zone, there's only one devotee in class. Sometimes even the one that's giving the class is the only one. So you should be very fortunate to have all this nice association in the Bhagavatam class. So, just like sometimes in our temples, in some places, in Mangal Artik, there's just the pujari, and that's it, and the deities, and pujaris having to do puja and sing the kirtan. So you should be very fortunate you have all this association. And that gives us strength to hear the Bhagavatam. When we're surrounded by devotees, we have more strength for hearing the Bhagavatam. In the beginning of the 10th canto, I can't remember the verse right now, there's a verse where it says three types of people are benefited: the speaker, the hearer, and the audience. And so just like kirtan, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said kirtan is more powerful than japa. But japa is more intense than kirtan. Because japa, because it's so intense, because you're alone with Krishna, and therefore, because Krishna is appearing, abhinatvam namanamino, he's appearing in his merciful form as the holy name. Therefore, you have to pay strict attention. Otherwise, you're being negligent. Whereas in kirtan, it's so powerful because you're having the chanting of all the devotees. Even if you're a little negligent, you still get so much benefit. So Bhagavatam class is powerful.
Thank you, but how do you control the desires when it gets strong?
How what?
How do you control the mind when desires get strong? Like sometimes...
Not sure. How do that's what we're doing here. Everything we're doing here is what you should do when the desires become very strong. Everything we're doing. Hear the Bhagavatam, chant the holy name, rise early, go to Mangalarti. Srila Prabhupada emphasized going to Mangalarti not so much to assist to be in the Artik, but to get up early. Especially in the beginning. That's why he started Mangalarti. Devotees were getting up at 7 o'clock. So Prabhupada said, you must get up from Mangalarti. Prabhupada didn't go to Mangalarti because he was absorbed in translating. Six Goswamis didn't go to Mangalarti. Bhaktivinoda Thakur didn't go to Mangalarti because he was absorbed in Krishna. Because we're not absorbed in Krishna, we must, and we also get the benefit of darshan of the Lord before he stops his nighttime pastimes. It seems like he's getting up. We're taking the position like Mother Yashoda. Krishna's getting up, but actually he's just coming back from his pastimes. And we see him, and he's just getting up, but he never gets up. But we treat him like that. He doesn't have to eat, but he puts us in the position just like Mother Yashoda. We have to cut some fruit and cook some sabji and feed it to Krishna, otherwise he'll be hungry. So Krishna, in his deity form, Archa Vigraha, he is creating the personal, taking any impersonal tendency out of our hearts. So when we go to kirtan, we go to Artik, we see the Lord, we serve the Lord, we cook for the Lord, we dress the Lord. Our intimacy increases, and that separates us from the modes of nature. So that's why does Krishna speak about the modes of nature in the Bhagavad Gita and so deeply in the teachings of Kapila Dev? Such a deep analysis of the modes of nature. And there, again, and every time there's prayers, you look at any prayer, like Gajendra, Queen Kunti a little less, but practically speaking, every other prayer, Prahlad Maharaj, a deep analysis, and especially the demigods praying to the Lord, the prayers of the personified Vedas, such a deep analysis of the modes of nature and how they're, even Vasudeva and Devaki. When they're praying to Krishna, there's a whole analysis of the modes of nature and how, and so when we hear that again and again, we also understand how dangerous they are, and then we avoid them. So everything we're doing will keep us from our mind deviating from Krishna. We just have to do it sincerely and with attention. And always understand, why am I doing this? Don't just do it mechanically. Of course, if you just do it mechanically, it's better than not doing it. But really, we should understand, why am I doing this? Why do we chant this at this time? Why do we do this at this time? That's how we understand how the devotional service is revealing Krishna constantly to us in different ways.
Thank you much.
Yes, okay, one more question from back the Mataji. And we'll have to stop.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you said that Kamsa was fortunate because he was intensely meditating on Krishna. But I think that because his devotion was unfavorable, so how can we call him fortunate?
This is the mood of a devotee. But the whole point of both Uddhava saying that and Narada Muni saying it, what they're really doing is showing us we shouldn't take devotional service for granted. We should be very grateful for every moment that we have this opportunity to be connected to Krishna. And therefore they say that to emphasize the point that we, the Vrishnis, we were a little negligent because we thought, I could go to the assembly hall, but Krishna will be there tomorrow. So sometimes we think like that. I could go to the Bhagavatam class, but I can go tomorrow. I could do this. I can go to Mangalarti, but I could go tomorrow. So to avoid that, these examples, obviously the Vrishnis were much more advanced than Kamsa, but Kamsa also, got the opportunity to take birth in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by his intense meditation on Krishna. Even Aghasura was promoted to Vaikuntha. Normally, he came out of his body, but because Krishna was standing right inside of his throat and the mouth was open, when he came out of the body, he saw Krishna and he went to Vaikuntha. He should have gotten Sayuja, but he got Salokya because he saw the Lord. Generally, the jiva of a person with Sayuj, they go immediately into the body of the Lord. But he hesitated, and because Krishna was standing right there, his darshan, he couldn't go to Goloka because he was so offensive. But because he saw Krishna, he went to Vaikuntha. So that's how merciful Krishna is.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for your kind attention and for your association. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi.